What we just heard from Emwick.
I make a motion to approve the participation in the project 2026A.
I second.
We have a vote. All those in favor?
Aye, Landry.
Aye, Cohen.
Aye, Burns.
Aye, Chicarello.
Okay. Okay. The vote is that the Town of Hull acting by through the Municipal Light Board or Commission in accordance with statute 1975C, 75C, and Section 1 hereby votes and agrees to participate in Emwick Special Project 2026A, and that the Town of Hull acting by and through the Light Board in accordance with Section 1975 hereby agrees to pay its pro rata share of the cost of carrying out Special Project 2026A as established by Emwick Board of Directors and a Special Project Fund for such Special Project 2026A, which pro rata share shall be based upon the city and town's participation in the project, that the manager is hereby authorized and directed to make payments to Emwick calculated set forth in the preceding paragraph 2, that the manager is hereby authorized and directed to execute the participation acknowledgement, a copy of which has been presented at this meeting and is filed with the permanent records thereof, and that the Town of Hull, acting through its Municipal Light Board, agrees to execute and perform its obligations under the Emwick Offshore Wind Project 2026 Power Purchase Agreement substantially in the form of the PPA presentation to the Hull Municipal Light Board made in part of the record of this meeting, and authorizes the general manager to execute the PPA at a time he deems it appropriate, and directs the general manager to cause the Hull Municipal Light Department to perform the Hull Light Department's obligations under the PPA and to take any or all future actions that the general manager deems may be required to carry out, give effect to, and commensurate the transactions contemplated by the vote, and that the actions previously taken by the manager which are consistent with the purpose of this vote are hereby ratified. Okay. So that's what we're voting for.
I thought we just voted, but
I thought
Okay.
didn't we?
I made a motion and I thought we voted on it.
He made a motion, you seconded it, and we
I
voted.
voted, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I can vote again, you know.
so that's, right. Anyways, so we voted on the presentation and our obligations.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. So the vote is
5-0.
5-0, 5-0. Okay? Thank you. Open for discussion.
David Irwin, Town Way.
Yes, Dave.
How long's the contract for?
I don't think we could just.
No, can't discuss the length of it, but it was a PPA for offshore wind.
Is this an existing wind project?
I don't think we can say
What's the cost of electricity landed?
that. Can't say that.
Can't say that either.
Can you get out of the contract once you're in it?
I don't believe so.
Have the contract terms.
So Emwick must have needed clean energy in their portfolio, correct?
We can't comment on that either.
And are there any wrecks that we can?
Can't comment on that either. Can't admit or
It
deny.
was a public,
The vote was in public, but not the, yeah.
we're all owners, we pay into it.
So,
There'll be a press release when it's all public.
yeah, this is,
It's still being discussed with other municipal aid plans, so that's why the details can't be shared.
but it's offshore wind.
which I'm not in favor of. We studied it 12 years. I think when they project the cost of electricity landed before it's built, and when it's built, sometimes it doubles. Just wanted to make that comment. Not a fan of offshore. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. I will close that portion of the meeting. I'm going to make a change to the agenda at the request of the town manager. The town manager won't be able to attend. The town manager requested that I move the manager's report up on the agenda. And I believe the town manager and and the operation manager will excuse themselves from the meeting after their report.
So I think the only, when we had met on the agenda, Tom, the only managers, I'm not sure where the other items came from, but the manager's update that we had was relative to the electric vehicle charging stations.
I'm sorry, can you speak up just a little bit, please?
Oh, I just stated when we had, I'm not sure where the other managers' items came from on the agenda, but when we met to set the agenda, the manager's item that was requested was to include the electric vehicle charging station status. So Mike has an update.
Yeah, so we were supposed to hear something from Mass CEC today about the grant that we applied for with MWEC, and unfortunately we didn't hear what the result was, so I don't have an update at this meeting. Hopefully at the next meeting we'll have the information on what happened with that grant.
Sure, I move that we table that to September meeting.
So noted. There was one item 8, the rates in the generator project charge, which I think that Mike could address. That is nothing controversial.
Yep, so the generator charges will end after the September billing. In the next bills going out, there'll be a statement on that the charges are ending, will be done at the end of September.
So we're all caught up? I mean, we don't owe anybody any money, I mean, the repairs, okay.
Can I ask you a few questions, Mike? Currently, the charge is approximately $10.35. And if we voted for the generators, what would the current charge be?
Would have gone to 17, I forget how many cents, but 17 something,
17. What would that be annually?
about 1.3 million.
1.3 million. So we were looking at a charge of 1.3 million. That's what, another 700,000 to our existing budget. We went from 800 to
Right.
1.3, 500,000 in addition. So technically we are saving the ratepayers a significant amount of money.
But just to clarify, that cost wasn't coming out of the light plant budget. Think of it almost as its own little sub-enterprise account. That was that there was a surcharge on the bills that covered per the ratepayers the generator charge. So yes, each ratepayer is saving $10, or in the upcoming year $17 and change a month for 9 months. Or was it 12 months?
And just to get the other side of the story, that I think the only way that you can really judge that is after a, 2-day loss of power from a storm. So that's, you're looking at it in a vacuum right now, saying, oh, it's that, I'm not,
Right,
I don't
no.
want to start a fight about it, but I'm just saying
Right.
that you're looking at it in a vacuum, and you're not looking at it in terms of from a 2-day loss of power, how much that is really worth. So I just want to
Right,
put that.
yeah,
You and I have this disagreement on it, and I don't want to.
It's like the insurance. If you don't use it, it's expensive. If you
Yeah.
use it, then it's well worth it.
Well worth it.
And I can share that the town and certain departments have received a lot of questions and concerns about not having the generators. So I'm just share that as,
I ran on that, and I've heard a lot of pros and cons. So as many pros I've heard from people asking me questions, I've heard cons on the other side.
Yeah.
Why 7 hours for 5 years? versus-
I think, yeah,
So,
for those, those residents who don't have a generator, it was the security blanket for them. For those that do, it probably was less so.
so
I'm just conveying.
if you're writing the checks, you'll be writing previously
You
about
won't stop,
100.
Willie.
There we go. So $10 less a month.
You'd be writing $120, but the projected cost would be $220. But you're right, it's, so the person writing the checks, whether, I don't know if he's going to make that distinction that this is a pass-through, but it should be a cost savings.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Water is
I mean, the vote was taken, we voted, and
Waterloo Bridge.
let's go on.
Okay. I think we had an agenda meeting previously. These agendas don't come together themselves. And I'm disappointed that we don't have the light plant manager and the assistant light plant manager to be here for the whole meeting to address some of the other items that they would have specific knowledge to. And I feel that not only me and the other commissioners, but also the ratepayers will be at a disadvantage of not having you here to address these questions.
Yep, and we do have a memorandum for the board with updates on those items where there are updates, and, to have meeting after meeting of just some controversial things or non-light plant related things, it's quite honestly not fair to staff. So we have updates for you where needed. Some of the items we discussed were not necessarily agenda items, could have been answered with simple questions. So we have those items for you, and hopefully that provides the board with the information that they need. If I could pass those out.
Sure.
Did Jake get one of these?
No, he did not,
Okay.
but I can email.
Hey. There it is. Never mind.
Or do you want to go through each one of these, or do you want to?
Yeah, I think these will be addressed on the agenda items. I just,
Yeah, I understand your disappointment, Tom. I think on the flip side, we have equal disappointment. We have been cut out of the agenda setting. We have provided input, and, we've been cut out of the process. And so it makes it difficult for us puts us in a difficult position to sit here and have to respond to things that may not be ready for the agenda or might not have any additional input, and we're sharing that with you. And, through the chair, the agenda's coming through the clerk, not necessarily the chair, so happy to discuss it at any other time.
The clerk and I both
meeting is the
developed the
appropriate place
agenda.
for it. I'm sorry, I can't hear you over myself. And this is exactly what we're looking to avoid. So we are both reachable. If any board member has additional questions, feel free to reach out. I think we have thoroughly addressed to date everything on there and provided updates where there are any. Okay, thank you,
This
guys.
is an unprofessional act of insubordination, and I think it means we need to request.
We can't hear you, Jake.
Again?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Not well.
Okay, Can you,
Up all the way.
can you hit that button, Dave, the off button?
The air conditioning?
Yeah.
So to speak about agendas, I'm going to ask, can you hear me now?
It's not very loud.
It's the power button. The power
Turn it up
button.
anymore? You click it
The
there?
volume's up all the way.
Yeah.
It's up as high as it'll go. Yep. See, it's all the way up.
Okay, so
If I could just, Jake, I did hear you say one thing, that you thought it was unprofessional, and again, I don't think this is the appropriate place for this type of discussion, but I would counter that with cutting management out of agenda setting and providing information, and even listening to ourselves and/or council even, puts us in a very precarious spot. I'll hold back from saying unprofessional, but that's unfortunately the position that we're finding ourselves in. So,
we're in this position, John, because of you.
Okay.
You're interacting with the board.
okay, thanks, Jake.
I don't want to be here.
Thank you for putting that on record.
Okay.
The issue I see here tonight is we've set agendas before, submitted them, and then what we see posted was entirely different, completely generic, missing what we were trying to work on. That is exactly why Tom and I have taken over the process of here's an agenda. We sat down on Monday with the town manager, operations manager, went through the entire agenda. And I thought we made a lot of good progress. We made some changes at her request. Now, here we are with the staff leaving because they don't agree with the board. So I see this as an unprofessional act of insubordination, and it means that we need to request another joint meeting with the select board, have this inefficient process. It's unfortunate, but that's where I think the board has found itself.
What is not on the agenda that she does not agree with? I guess my
Well,
question is.
let me just add to that, to me, not having the light plant manager and the operations manager is borderline contempt for the board as well as for the ratepayers, not to be able to ask specific questions. If the board had the authority to hire the light plant manager as addressed in Article 40, this will be a very significant action that would, I think, put into focus whether we want to continue with that light plant manager. I really feel this is borderline contemptible to the board and to the ratepayers. Let me, Mark.
I just wonder, you both made up the agenda. Is there something on there that you didn't make up that's not on there? I guess I don't understand why the stuff on this agenda that they don't agree to, if they made it up with you on Monday.
Is there anything here that is surprising to the?
No. This is the agenda the same agenda that the public sees is the same agenda that we went through. There are no surprises. We, the clerk and the chair, generated the agenda. We sit down with the light plant manager and the operations manager, go through the agenda that we made, and highlight specific items that we want to cover. They highlight specific items that they want to cover.
Was there anything on the agenda that you went through that the light plant manager had signified that was offensive?
No,
That's my question.
no.
Yeah.
It was, it came down to no updates. So why do I need to, well, I should read what was printed before I paraphrase any
Right,
conversation.
but before you go any, I mean,
Yeah, I did take detailed notes when we had the agenda setting meeting, and we were supposed to go through the items in, what is it, item 4, which is the financial documents request. So I do have updates that I can share from the notes I took then, if that would be helpful.
okay, but I mean, I'm just trying to understand why, I mean, obviously, the lake plant manager's not here, so that person can't speak for themselves, but I'm just wondering why, I mean, the whole point of having a meeting together is to ask questions and to delve into issues together. I'm just wondering if you had put in there something that was guaranteed to be offensive or guaranteed to be objectionable, and that, you know, that the light plant manager didn't want to be part of a trap or something. I mean, I could appreciate that, but if you're telling me that you went through this and that she had, I don't know, okay is the right word, but accepted it and didn't object to anything, then I don't understand what the issue is.
The terms that I heard in that meeting were, this is unnecessary, and there was discussion about Hull Historic Commission shouldn't be coming to Light Board. Well, they have, so I also don't agree with the position that they shouldn't be coming. There was talk about item 7, the resiliency grant, not even a Light Board matter was one thing that was mentioned. And then on Article 40, it was, why is that even on this agenda? Why would you be talking about it? To me, it would be irresponsible for us to not talk about it. It's now has a docket number. We'll soon have a bill number that's been filed. So there's a change in the status. I think that's something the board should know about and be discussing. You know, we took a vote to submit testimony. I think all of these things matter. On the parking lot, I don't know that anything was actually discussed on the parking lot. It's sort of just a list of items that are hanging out there.
Oh, that's what a parking lot agenda, oh, okay.
Okay.
Number 12.
I'm going to go back to the agenda. There are 2 questions here. I don't know if you were here earlier. I would love to end this meeting by 9:30. Definitely by 10:30, it's ending. So, and I will entertain your questions.
Mine is just more of a comment. I think Article 40 explains what happened tonight. Governance structure is untenable.
Okay.
She is responsible to the select board and not to you guys, and that's sort of Article 40 in a nutshell.
Okay. Lisa.
Lisa Orange, 47 Rockaway. What I heard the town manager say just a few minutes ago was something to the effect that she was kept out of the vetting process. I heard her say the issue is that she and the operations manager were not allowed to vet the agenda items. And when I hear that, it seems very strange because that's an administrative staff and you are an elected board, and you are supposed to set your agenda, and I don't understand at all why administrative staff would feel that they should be able to vet, to knock certain items off of your agenda. It's one thing to discuss, maybe which topics are helpful to cover this time or next meeting. It's another thing to use the word vet to sound like the town manager and the light plant manager should be able to knock out certain agenda items.
You mean veto?
It just seems wrong.
You mean veto? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Rather than
she
vet?
she did say the word vet.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
that means
Okay.
to go through the agenda and decide which things are not in and which are in. And I don't understand, I've never heard of this before, an administrative staff feeling that they have that power over an elected body, over your agenda. Just odd.
Okay, great. Jake, if nothing,
I agree with what Lisa's saying, that there's a misunderstanding with the town manager right now and the light board in that the light board gets to set its own agenda. With the current charter, with any future charter, that's the law. And, right, she doesn't agree with certain things on there. Some things are maybe triggering because it's about accountability, whatever. There's this board, the light board unanimously disagrees with the town manager on Edgewater Road versus relocating to West Corner. So maybe there's something triggering there. I don't want to speak for her or on her behalf. No. My place. It really doesn't matter. The light board has the legal responsibility, but also the protected right to set its own agenda. So this is nonsense. Thank you for saying what you said, Lisa. I appreciate it.
I just have one question, I'm not clear on this. When you met with her the other day and you set the agenda, is this the agenda that you set with her at the time, or was there something in this she did not approve on, and that's why she walked out of here?
So,
There's one item that I can say that I see it was actually my mistake. I'll take full ownership of it. We agreed to take off the term possible vote. I was working on my laptop in the hallway with Tom right after we met with Jennifer and Mike, and I see that the item under number 4 says possible vote. All of them said possible vote, and I also see one under approval of minutes that says possible vote. My intent was to take all those off, and it looks like most of them were taken off. That was her request, but I think she would understand that. That's minor, and the guidance from the Attorney General's office that she read on June 24th shows that we don't need that. But on June 10th, she had warned the select board when we were meeting with them jointly that you did need to have a possible vote. Otherwise, you may technically not have a vote. So we started putting that on the agenda. Outside of that, that's the only thing I would say no.
So the possible vote was there when you folks met and agreed on the agenda, or not?
Yes, and
Yeah.
then Tom, Chair, agreed to take the possible vote off, and I thought I got them all off, and I see tonight there's 2 of them.
So just a quick question, under manager's report, she said the only thing that was discussed was the electrical vehicle charging stations. None of the other 3 items. that
the
you
interim
have on there.
storage facility was discussed. Yes.
And she agreed to have that put on the agenda? These were things that were agreed to be put on the agenda?
This is what the chair and the clerk developed the agenda.
Okay.
And there's a section for a manager's report that we had put in there, and right, the only thing that she had mentioned was the EV charging stations, which there was no decision made because that grant hasn't come through yet.
Okay.
I mean, my feeling is that, I mean, I wasn't at the meeting, so I don't know what was said and what wasn't. I'm just going on what you're saying. But this is a public meeting. She's a public official. She's not an elected official, but she's a public official. And we have a right to ask her questions about any subject. Well, not any subject, pardon me.
Right.
I mean, any public issue subject, a subject that affects the ratepayers. I mean, I could understand if she feels that she was being sandbagged or she was being, that she was put in a trap or something. But if you went over this with her and you discussed it with her, so she knew that it was going to be, I mean, she could always say no comment, or whatever she could say.
Well,
I just don't understand that.
She did develop one-page comments,
Right.
which...
But we have a right to ask her questions on that subject. so.
Totally. I would like to take a little break from this discussion.
Okay.
I talked to Steve Greenberg earlier in the day, and I told him that we would rearrange the agenda so he could get his presentation, and he probably wouldn't have to be through the whole meeting, so I'm going to...
I greatly appreciate that.
I'm going to...
So I'm Steve Greenberg, and as of last night, I'm the chair of the Powell Historical Commission. And
So,
the Hull Historical Commission, I have a letter, and I'd like to give copies to everybody.
and this is to acknowledge the regulatory framework identified by the Hull Historic Commission and to direct the clerk.
Well, if you, this is not specifically on that. There was some confusion. There is some confusion about the notification, and so what we've written, the board met, and we have submitted this statement. I'd like to give you all a copy.
Thank
And I'd
you.
like to read a copy, read it for the audience also, so they will know, because I think that it leads us into a very important place. I'll pass those around. We have an extra copy, absolutely. Here's one for you. Pass those around. This is from the Hull Historical Commission, August 5th, 2026, and it's to the Hull Municipal Light Plant and the Town of Hull Select Board. And the subject is the National Register MACRIS listing. So this is these are categories of historical
something different.
registration. All right.
Can you just stop for a minute, because we've got something different.
I gave you the wrong paper.
I guess so.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. What did I give you?
I have
You
this.
don't want that. No, you don't have this. You got it, okay. Sorry about that. All right.
You look better?
So what it says is this: Dear members of the board, the Hull Historical Commission has already started the process of submitting information to the Massachusetts Historical Commission on the historically significant light plant building at 15 Edgewater Road for the Massachusetts Cultural Resources Information System, MACRIS, and the National Historic Register of Places. The building is significant as a well-preserved example of rare Mediterranean revival architecture, popular in the 1920s in coastal communities. The style is characterized by stucco construction, tile roofing, and electrical details derived from historic architecture from Mediterranean countries deemed appropriate for seaside communities. Please note electrical devices, all right? Other significant examples in Hull include the DCR's State Waiting Room, Clock Tower Building, an adjacent comfort station and police station, as well as the town's central fire station at A Street, the Carousel, Temple Israel, and many private homes, all from the 1920s. In addition to being of significant historical architecture, the light plant building has important ties to the early cultural history of national electrification that occurred in Hull as related to electrified rail transportation and Paragon Park as an electrified amusement park. As part of the Historical Commission's stewardship of the town's historic buildings, the Historical Commission will work closely with the Light Board to ensure appropriate recognition of this historically important building. That should also say the Light Board and the town. Sincerely yours, Stephen Greenberg, Chair, Hull Historical Commission. What was sent to you previously to this was, in an attempt to be overly diligent, Mary Huntington had tried to clarify a rumor that the Historic Commission had begun to investigate the historic potential of the light plant building. That's very true. In 2004, 2005, we began to go over our lists of historic sites, and we noticed in creating this list of historic important sites that the light plant building was not in the MACRIS file. Other properties in town were in the MACRIS file. These were done, this was a file done in response to the 200th anniversary of America, almost 50 years ago, and it was compiled about 47 years ago, where these buildings were surveyed. You also may remember that 2 years ago, the Historical Commission took through town meeting action to receive a matching grant for a historic survey and planning grant. We have not been able to use that grant because the federal funds on the other side, which is what funds the state program, have been curtailed, and therefore we have not been able to do that. However, we felt that in light of the activity around the light plant, whatever it may be, and this was 2 years ago, whatever it may be, and the fact that it wasn't on the list and needed to be on the list, we have begun doing research. And Mary is, at this point, has about 10 pages of research that she has done on the historical nature of the property, all right? She has uncovered, as you have all very clearly described publicly, a question of the actual ownership of the properties in terms of 1893 and 1913 and 1907, and that's what that research is ongoing, all right? Therefore, I address this to both the Light Plant Board and the Town of Hull, because we're not lawyers, we're just doing the research about that, and we felt that because we're doing the research, because there are issues around this building, that we would be very public with that. Normally, we just do this quietly behind the scenes until such time as we got back, we submitted to the state, and the state would respond to us. That's the normal course of action for historical commissions. We felt it was appropriate to have a public statement. We also feel it's really important for people to understand that this property and these other properties really do signify a common architectural theme in our community that we can all be proud of, that's very unique and should be honored and respected.
Could I ask you, you said that the Hull Historical Commission has already started the process. How long does that process take, and who makes the final decision about whether or not it's a historical building?
The Massachusetts Historical Commission. So we collect the story and the evidence that we think that's important, all right? They then judge that, qualify that according to other standards and material that they do. I'm only on the job for a day, so I don't know all the answers. But bottom line is, we submit the Form A and Form B application, and they then take it from there and verify that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, that the data that we have corresponds to the data that they have in terms of what, when, who, and how. It's 1890. The story starts in 1893, so there's a lot of history.
Will you be coming before us and asking us?
I don't believe there's any. In other words, we chose to write this letter because we had caused some confusion by the letter that Mary had sent to you, and we felt that the best thing to do was to come forward and to present this letter. I've sent a copy of this to the Select Board and the Town Clerk, so that everyone knows what we're doing, why we're doing it, and why we think it's very important.
Okay.
All right? We do understand that this designation can potentially affect the future of that property. All right? Being from a family that recently, we just sold it, we had a building on the National Historic Register in downtown Natick, built in 1888, a five-story building with slate roof and copper gutters. I fully understand both the liability of that designation and the responsibility for the common good of respecting those sites.
So could I just ask a quick question? You said in 2004 and 2005,
No, 2024 and 2025.
okay, a list was created, but Hull Light wasn't on that list?
No, the Macris list, this large list, all right, was done 47 years ago.
Well, that's what I thought you said, 2004 and 2005.
That is what you sent him.
Oh, I'm sorry. 47 years ago was when the list was done. 2024, 2025
Okay.
was when we looked at that list and said, wait, this,
Hull Light's not on that list.
and there are other properties that are not on there also. And there are properties that unfortunately are now gone. There's a lot of properties from Pettix Island that are no longer there, so it's.
So I guess, are there any properties that have historical designation
Yes, yes.
in Hull?
In Hull, yes, there's some, and I don't have my list with me.
Okay.
There are some that are on state lists, there are some that are on national lists, like I believe the carousel itself is on the national list. I believe that the Life Saving Museum is on the national list. Okay. Others are on state lists. So what that means, what it means going forward, depending on what lists they're on and how they're categorized on that list, may mean that what you can do, what you can't do. In most cases, it means the exterior of the structure needs to remain basically as it is, all right? Could the light plant be, if it needed to be more resilient, could it be raised theoretically? And the walls elongated? As long as it's done appropriately, things like that have happened, okay? The other thing is that historic preservation restrictions today are not the same as they have been historically. They have been substantially weakened, all right? The biggest problem comes if there are state or federal funds connected to the funding of the project. Then the historical categorization may make a difference in what funds are available and what funds are not available, or more specifically, what you need to prove, you may need to do counter to the intent of the designation.
Do we have any idea how long it takes to get this designation?
It's up to the Mass Historical Commission. And again, the designation itself is not, we think is very important, but the real value is that we as a community, in public comments at the select board meeting, and that the community has now recognized itself that this is a historically valuable property. What that means, what restrictions we care to put on that, that's still to be decided.
And we don't know how long that could take.
Right, and again, we get constant reports of changes in federal legislation around this issue, that those changes in federal legislation affect not only the rules themselves, but the money to do the research. So lo and behold, if you don't have any more money to pay people to do the research, it takes longer.
Well, let me ask you, so I understand what you're saying is that it's very fluid, but if my house is designated as a historical building by the Mass Society, does that keep me from destroying it, from tearing it down?
Not unless there are other things you could do as a historical commission. We could get a demolition delay, all right? That's part of the law. Delay, not permanently. So the issue would be, okay, we decided it's historic. You don't think it's historic, all right? We don't have this right here in Hull. We've never voted on this right, okay? In some communities, they have the legal power to delay something, to make their case that it shouldn't be done or should be done. Should be done another way.
Thank you, Mr. Greenberg. We are in the process of funding a feasibility study
Yes.
for a garage and maintain the historical nature of 15 Edgewater. We were looking at the Historical Commission, if they could make that designation within a period.
It's not up to us, unfortunately.
Okay. So this will maybe expedite our feasibility study. We will still respect the building and its historical nature and not change it. So that's,
the best way to proceed is with that attitude, all right?
okay. We might even ask you your opinion if we have to make any
I'm
changes
sure
to
that
that
we
building.
have people on the board who are
I'm doing this
qualified.
just so I can move this along.
Put along, I'm done for the
I'm
evening, I
going to
hope.
talk to Lisa quickly.
Yeah, Lisa French from 7 Hawthorne. My understanding is the state listing and the local listing is not like the National Register of Historic Places. The state listing does not have those strict requirements of what you can do with the property. It's just a list.
Okay.
And also, it shouldn't take very long. Of course, when it gets to the state, who knows, but it doesn't sound like it will take that much time. If there's somebody locally that is doing the research, it's not requiring a lot of money, it's just requiring time, and people who are donating their time to do the research. And I think it will be possible for that to be put together fairly quickly, especially if other members of the Historic Commission were to help with that.
Right.
I think it's very doable.
Yeah, we reached out to them. They were here.
Yeah.
Polly,
Yes, thank you, Polly Rowe, 9 Rockford. I just have a quick curiosity question, knowing nothing about this. If the Macris list dates back to 2004, 22 years
No,
ago.
1940, no, 1982 is really, it's 47 years ago, I think it's.
Okay, so 47 years ago. Do you have any comment on why the Hull Light Plant building has never been on it, and all of a sudden now in 2024, in other words, why didn't somebody look at this years ago?
It depends on how you want to look at the world. If you look at the world as a bad place of bad people doing bad things, then you could say someone purposely left it off. If you look at the world as some place where mistakes get made, it was left off. If you look at a place where unicorns and rainbows frolic every day, as in my life, it's because it wasn't on there, period. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to, okay, thank you, Steve. I just want to try to stay with our,
I always like to end my
okay,
unicorns and rainbows.
Lisa.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish one other comment about that. My understanding is that there is no entity, property owner that can prevent a building from being listed on the state Macris list. There's no town official that could say, no, it doesn't require the approval of the select board or anybody. It is strictly the work of the local historical commission, which is under state statute. They follow the procedures, they get the information, the state looks at the information. If it all makes sense, you're on the list, and nobody can stop it.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next agenda item.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope that satisfies your questions. I do apologize for the confusion with the original letter.
No, it does, and we'll probably reach out to you in the future.
Our pleasure.
Thanks for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is request for financial records. To take from the table, I mean, that we had tabled this motion before, the motion moved by Commissioner Ciccarello and seconded by Commissioner Valencourt at the special town meeting of July 27th and tabled to this meeting. Okay. A report of the individuals identified by the chair at the July 27th meeting, namely the light plant manager, the operations manager, light plant accountant, Commissioner Valencourt, and Chair Burns, on their review of items A through J, including which records are readily producible and which require additional time and an estimated person hours for initial and ongoing production.
A through I.
So we've already had an initial meeting. We met with the town manager and operations manager. The light plant accountant was unavailable. She was on leave. So the meeting was just between Mr. Valencourt, myself, the light plant manager, and the operations manager. And what we discussed, these items, A through I, which I'll briefly go through, which we have requested repeatedly for the light plant manager. And I move that to discharge its rate-setting duty under Section 14A of the Town Charter and its depreciation fund duty under Section 164, the board requests that the light plant manager provide to the board through its clerk by the board at the next regular meeting the following records from January 2023 to June 30th, 2026. What we requested were the monthly statements as issued by financial institutions, and not summaries or reformatted versions of this data, for every bank depository or investment account and the plant's name to be held for the benefit of the plant, including the operating cash account and the depreciation fund and any customer deposit accounts. This is these are all fundamental accounts, financial accounts. B, the plant funds held in pool or commingled with town accounts, the monthly statements of each such account with the town treasurer, cash book entries, and allocation schedule showing the plant's monthly share. C, monthly account and participant statements for all plant funds held by and through MWIC, including the purchase power, working capital, rate stabilization, pension reserves, PANSI account, OPEG, trust fund accounts. The monthly reconciliation of the plant's general ledger cash fund balances to the records contained in A through D. A register of all transfers of plant funds to and from the town or between plant accounts showing date, amount, purpose, authorizing official, and warrant or voucher references. All of these accounts numbers will be redacted and with rolling production permitted through calendar years 25 and 2026. F, if any record above does not exist or is not maintained, the manager provided by the same date a written statement identifying which such records, stating the fact and identifying the records of the plant, the town treasurer or MWIC do maintain and contain such information. And G, if any record cannot be produced by that meeting, the manager provided by the same date a written status report stating the record and the reason and the date certain for when it can be produced. H, the manager therefore provides the items A through D monthly within 10 business days of receipt of preparation. And finally, I, compliance appear as a standing item on the board's agenda until production is complete.
Can I ask you some questions about the meeting?
Sure, I could.
Before we go in there, I have a very short bullet list of notes from that meeting I'd like the board to hear before we discuss it.
Would you speak up a little bit, please, too?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, Jake, I think, yeah.
Okay. I will speak as loud as I can. Apologize for this. So the board voted July 27th for the group, which was Dan's idea, to review A through I with the town manager and report. We did have an August 3rd meeting. The town manager's position was that meeting was for agenda review only, not the list. She did acknowledge that Tom had emailed the week before stating that we would be going through this list in the meeting. She confirmed for us in that meeting that the list that you have before you in this agenda was forwarded to the finance director, the town accountant, and the town treasurer, but she had not yet met with them. We got no item level answers on any of the 9, no date certain, and she stated that it would not be complete before tonight's meeting. And she also stated that the 2 commissioners, myself and Tom, would not be allowed to participate in the meeting she would hold with the finance director, town accountant, town treasurer, and the light plant staff to go through these. So that's the information we have. And I want to share this reminder with the board. You know, how did we sort of get here? So this board annually is responsible for signing the Department of Public Utilities annual return, which includes some energy information, but also financial information, and that gets filed with the DPU, or the Department of Public Utilities, once per year. Last year, 2 of us declined to sign I believe it was the 2024 report, and the reason was we cannot attest to what we cannot verify, and now we're trying to be in a position where we can actually verify what's going to be in that next report. This is signed under the penalties of pains and penalties of perjury, so it's a big deal. I take it the role, the responsibility seriously, and that's part of what is behind some of this. So I just wanted to remind the board of that.
So I just had a couple questions about that meeting. Did the light plant manager inform you of what documents were classified or I don't know, classified is the right word, but that were strategically secret for the town to operate?
No.
Was there any reasons why any of these documents shouldn't be given? Did she express any of that?
None.
Did she describe any difficulty in producing these records?
We never got to that stage. So,
Did she discuss, okay.
We never got to find out the labor it would take, the amount of time, and the resources. Never got to that stage.
Okay. I mean, that's part of the problem with her not being here is that those are some of the questions that I would want to ask her is that, are there any of these things,
So,
are these any of these things that the public shouldn't know? First of all. Second of all, is there any reasons why any of these documents shouldn't be given to us? And what's the difficulty in getting these things? And how long would it take? I mean, those are legitimate questions, I think, for us to ask. I mean, obviously, we have to go into executive session, obviously, for certain things, and we know the reasons why we have to do that. It would be important for us to know why these documents shouldn't be given to us, of course redacted, and why we shouldn't be able to verify these things.
So if we read her, what did...
sure, I'll do that now.
Read her
I just wanted
response,
to
okay.
check off each one. Stan was here. If you have any questions initially, I'll be glad. If not, I'll read what was produced by the light plant manager. Request for financial records. Management discussed request with town and HMLP financial team. Decision was to request a follow-up meeting with Light Board and HMLP auditors so that they may provide additional and clarifying information on outstanding board questions. Management is also exploring additional review to address outstanding questions identified by board members Valancourt and Burns.
Well, I mean, that's kind of vague, but that's...
And there's no date. I mean, there should be some sort of...
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
you have to have a...
it's good as far as it goes, but it's kind of vague.
I mean, who's the Hull Municipal Light Plant financial team? Who are they?
I guess that would be the, I know, accountant or something.
I think she has to give us some sort of timeline.
And I think each one of these items need to be addressed individually. They can't be all grouped together. The monthly statements, the funds in the account, the money that MWIC is holding in stabilization account, the pension reserves. Many of these items are already out there, and it'd be just a matter of putting them together. And as Commissioner Valancourt brought out, that all these documents make up the DPU report. The DPU, so these aren't foreign documents. These are documents that I would say every other MLP in the state has and would share with their light plant commissioners.
More pertinent, you would say that these documents are documents that should already exist.
Yes.
And should be able to get their hands on it, just as if somebody is filing a tax return, they should be able to have your documentation.
So these are, and they've been requested, I don't know, when did you start this request, Jake, informally, before it became a board question?
We started making these types of requests once we saw the DPU return last year.
Okay.
We had an extensive exchange, emails. You and I worked on it, Tom, and then we had the auditor, I forget her name, I apologize, but the auditor came. She had some other gentleman with her for part of the meeting and met with us. She was able to answer some of our questions. But we still haven't been provided any of the backup for this. And if you go back and read their reports, there's the thing that jumped off the page to me was the statement that actual cash balances in certain accounts cannot be verified because they're commingled with town funds. And to me, I don't even understand how we're still doing that. That's not, we've had Scopo tell us you don't do that. So I can't answer that question.
Well, what do you think it would be a reasonable time to put to her? I mean, we could certainly move to adopt this motion. But I think it's the honorable commissioner had said, you got to give her some time. Yeah, I mean, you got to give her a time limit, a deadline. So,
I guess the question I have is, it's like a kid. What are the ramifications to they're not doing it?
what's what?
The ramifications of not doing it.
Right, I mean the penalty, yeah.
You have to have some sort of,
Well,
I'd
say we should work off her response and put a timeline on it, a reasonable timeline.
and if she doesn't, what? If she doesn't do it by the timeline, what happens?
Well,
That's the question.
Right.
I think ultimately the town manager is accountable to the select board. So we push this,
Yeah,
push our frustrations to the select board and let them know.
do you think that we would have a meeting with them and request them to order her to produce them?
Well, under item C, can we not ask that of MWIC? Can we not ask MWIC to provide us this information?
I think we're missing the point, though.
Mentioned there's a portal that's easily found, and Jen had said that some of these items she thinks will be easy, but she hasn't met with staff yet, so she didn't want to comment on it for us.
Well, who's the financial person at the light plant? Who's the employee that does that? Remember Janice used to do all that? Is
Yeah.
this something that
It's a
Janice
new employee.
put
Exana.
together?
Exana.
Yeah.
Exana was on leave. And Janet's still working part-time.
Right.
So we have more staff now than ever before. And I don't know how long Janice Ford's going to be working part-time
Right.
to assist her, but now's the time to do it. So I will say I'll reach out to the board before we come up with the next agenda. I don't see this agenda item going away because it's not addressed.
No, I agree. I mean, I think we should request the
A timeline?
timeline, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, this is a political issue in the sense that ignoring our requests, it can't be helpful to the town manager vis-a-vis the public. I mean, that we're not asking for anything that is unusual or abnormal. And to slight those requests doesn't seem like it would be very helpful to the standing in the townspeople's eyes. I mean,
Right, and we're asking this because we don't think the DPU reports are correct? Is that why we're,
The DPU returns that we got were so incorrect that they had energy data transposed from some other town, and
I remember that, they said that was a typographical error though, but again, I guess that's what I'm asking.
I mean, there might be specific reasons why he wants it or that another commissioner wants it, but I would think that this would be pertinent information for us to have, to know. I mean, I don't see anything.
The manager, I think you need to
Yeah.
be more of a fine drilling down to look at the information versus just one pooled number.
And also, since I mean, I haven't heard any reason not to get this information, except that it might take some time getting it. I mean, I don't, that's why I was wondering if there was any, that this, for lack of a better word, classified, if we're giving out information that people shouldn't have. So
I would suggest that the next agenda item, include this and specifically request timelines on each of these items.
Letter I says compliance appears as a standing item on the board's agenda until production is complete. That way, as things are delivered, you can update them and say, oh,
Right.
we have 2025, whatever. it may
But
be.
Jake, that's why I'm wondering, on item C, can we not ask MWEC to provide us that information? Can we cross that off the list here? Can we
Mike?
request, MWEC, please give us this information?
And Mike told us that that's a quick printout for them right through the portal. They don't even have to ask him. He has some sort of portal he can log into.
Except we're not getting it, so why can't we ask directly to MWEC?
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say that we can't ask. I think we should pass this as it is. If the board feels uncomfortable with the way it's written now and you want to just add a date, go ahead and add a date. But I agree with I don't know. I wish I was there. But somebody said earlier, unless the select board says, oh, you got to provide it by such and such a date, any date we come up with is just a suggestion. We can't hold her accountable to it because of our structure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem moving this motion, approving this motion to vote on it. I mean,
To the select board?
this particular, that we officially request this information.
By a certain date,
Well, the date could be added, I think we could add that date in September when the light plant manager decides to join us.
it's a question, what if she just doesn't do it again?
What's that?
What if she doesn't do it again?
Well, we'll cross that bridge. I mean, that's something that,
Yeah. I believe this is the third meeting.
but I think that we should make an official request for these documents. And that if she doesn't comply with it, that's okay, then we'll have to deal with it. But
Oh, it's pretty official.
I'm assuming, just as Mr. Greenberg was saying, that we live in a rational world, that people respond to rational requests.
I thought we've already requested this information.
No, what we did, pardon me, but at the last meeting, what we did was we tabled it saying that we'll, at this meeting, to set up a group so they would meet and talk about it. But it doesn't seem like they came to any conclusions or anything like that. So that's why I'm saying that I think that we should, I move that we verbatim the motion that's in the agenda, from I move that to is complete.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion is?
The motion is that I move that to discharge its rate setting duty under et cetera, down to the letter I, completion. You want me to say the whole thing? I don't want to.
No.
Okay.
8I.
Okay.
All right, so that was moved by Dan Ciccarello,
Yeah.
by Jake Valencourt, seconded, and I just asked all votes we take a roll call since one of us is remote.
Okay,
I, Ciccarello.
I Burns.
I go,
Hi, Landry.
I Valencourt, so 5-0 unanimous.
Okay.
Chair, before we move on, can I just, given what happened, I think I need to make a statement, ask a question, and then get a little bit of information from all of you, because I wasn't in the room, and I apologize for the clunkiness of this. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we move on, I want to go back to when the town manager and the operations manager walked out of the room. I made a statement, I misspoke, so I need to correct my own words. Insubordination is not my characterization to make. We are the light board, not the select board. The select board is the appointing authority for the town manager and vis-a-vis the light plant manager. So I withdraw the term insubordination. What I should have said is the board cannot receive a manager's report tonight, and I'd like the record to reflect the departure time and the reason given. I'll just take a sentence from you. I will say that she said the agenda was not something she vetted or approved. That's what I heard, and I wasn't in the room. It was a little shaky. And the agenda is posted by the chair and the clerk, and then by the town clerk, of course. no statute gives the light plant manager a veto over the board's agenda. So just circle back and ask time and the official reason stated, so I can put that in the minutes. I don't want to characterize anything in the minutes. I just want it to be factual.
The only thing that I would like to say about that is that I think that you should send her an email to the effect that you used the wrong term.
Sure, I can do that.
Okay. Next agenda item is 15 Edgewater Road feasibility study, procurement status. Let me read the statement that was afforded by the light plant manager. 15 Edgewater Road feasibility study, procurement status. Drafting an invitation to bid is in process and expected to be posted in September. Okay. So the feasibility study, just to familiarize everyone, we voted to fund up to $110,000 of light plant money for a feasibility study for a 4-bay garage, and to take in consideration the historical nature of 15 Edgewater and any improvements to the site, and that the any work be done to respect the historic nature of the building at 15 Edgewater, and to give us our 4-bay garage that we voted on November 2025.
May I ask you, how long do you think that a feasibility study would last? Or how long would it take to do that?
Well, not being a light plant manager, I can't answer that question. So I would assume an IFB, invitation to bid, would go out. If that went out in September, it might be out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We would get a return on that, make a determination. That probably could be done within 4 to 6 weeks.
The feasibility study?
The bid to get a company to do the feasibility study.
I'm just wondering, the whole thing is the timing with the vehicles. I mean, how long is this going to take?
Yeah, look, can I speak to that?
Sure.
So I took detailed notes from our session with Mike and Jen on Monday, and Jen stated that she thought it would be 6 to 8 months from now until we would have a feasibility report back. That was her estimate, and she said that's if it's even responsive. We'll see once the scope is fully published. I don't know if it's an RFI or RFP, but she thought that from now until 6 to 8 months from now. So regardless, we're going to need some sort of temporary solution for the truck, of which she assured us there will be one. And in our previous meetings, we've heard that there's rental garage available. We've heard that they might move some things within one of the existing garages to fit it in for now. So it sounds like they have options.
Okay.
That's what I had for my notes. Do you want to add to?
Yeah, I had discussions with Mike, the operations manager, and impressed upon him that I do not want to go off-site for storage our vehicles due to the cost, due to the security necessary, and also due to the fact that Hoagland, who's our lineman contractor, would have to spend time retrieving the vehicles. That would take time out of their day, and also to drop the vehicle off at the end of the night. So I think they're looking at trying to maintain all the vehicles on site, and they're looking at that currently. He indicated that they might have a a site for the garage before, I mean, a garage, a site garage modification for the new truck, but that would leave another vehicle or two other vehicles out in the elements, so. So we'll have to see if the, I'm just assuming the invitation to bid is posted by September and responded back, but, 6 to 8 months by the time they come back. The bid's awarded, another 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So we're up to maybe 8 weeks or 2 months before any work is done. Another 3 to 4 months to do the work. So it might be 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
After we voted November 2025.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Hull Historical Commission, I appreciate Stephen Greenberg's input. That's item 6. Item 7 is the CZM Coastal Resiliency Grant Phase 4 and Select Board vote of July 22nd. The agenda states upon an update of the Select Board vote on July 22nd, directing the town manager to separate the two facilities from the CZM grant, and on the town manager stated consultation with council and report back. Update on the Select Board vote of July 22nd, directing the Light Plant manager to honor the vote of the Light Board and to move forward expeditiously on a study of up to $110,000 to be funded by the Light Plant. Update of the town's CZM Coastal Resilience Grant Phase 4 application, including the anticipated award date and the treatment of Light Plant facilities, site funds in its application. And finally, any further action or transmittal by the clerk consistent with the board's April 2026 resolution and its vote of July 22nd. Okay, the response that I received, CZM Coastal Resiliency Grant Phase 4 Select Board votes July 22nd. Town Council has been asked to weigh in relative to the enforcement of the Select Board vote. The town's Phase 4 application is still pending with the Commonwealth. Mr. Valancourt has been advised by the council that the referenced resolution is neither binding nor enforceable. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back. The town council has been asked to weigh in relative to the enforcement of the Select Board vote.
So there's a question in the town manager's mind whether or not she is accountable to the Select Board?
Yes, she wants town council to make that determination. The Phase 4 application is still pending with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. What I remember from our meeting is that I asked her specifically, will the grant application be amended or modified? And the answer was no. There will be no modification. And will we be, and then directly, will the Light Plant be taken out of the application? She said no.
The vote that they had on July 22nd, that had allowed the Light Plant to be removed from the application, is that, is my memory correct?
And so,
Two votes took place. One was directing the town manager to separate the two facilities from the CZM grant. So the, DPW would continue, get the grant, but the light department wouldn't be part of that. The select board took that vote and it passed 3-2. There was another vote that they took but also passed 3-2, which directed the light plant manager to honor the vote of the light board and move forward expeditiously on the study of up to $110,000 to be funded by the light plant. So both of those passed on July 22nd from the select board.
Okay.
It says here, Mr. Valencourt has been advised by counsel that the referenced resolution, in quotation, is neither binding nor enforceable. Was that?
Yeah, so we should respond to that. So council hasn't advised me anything outside of one of these meetings. I think what the light plant manager is referring to with that statement is what we heard after our April 2026 resolution that passed. That resolution essentially notified various state agencies that the light board was opposed to the relocation of its facilities to the joint building, and that we didn't want to participate in the grant that contemplated doing exactly that. I remember Nick Scoville telling us that he thought that our resolution was valid on all points except for the request for, basically he said you can't ask for the financial information. That was part of the resolution. The rest of it I thought he said was valid. And he also gave us sort of a shoulder shrug and said, but no worries, you can do a public records request for the financial information. Anyone can. It doesn't have to be the light plant. So the light board didn't have the authority to request some information about that CZM grant financial accounting, but everything else he said was valid. That's my recollection. And I think everyone, even though Mark, you were on the board, I think you were in that meeting.
Okay, well, so an update on the select board's vote on July 22nd on the two facilities. So the update.
So what I think we could do if we chose to is we could update if we go back to the state agencies listed from the April resolution, we could update all of them with a verbatim copy of the two votes the select board took. If the board felt that it's necessary to inform them that the select board also agrees with the light board on this matter.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Polly.
Sir, Polly Road 9, Rockview Road. May I ask you please, just for audibility's sake in this room, to repeat what you just said about whomever it was that asked the light plant manager if you, I think you said, withdraw from the dual
Right.
facility? Because if you would repeat that, I'd appreciate it, because I'm looking at the op-ed published by the conservation, the head of climate adaptation, Chris Crawforce, and I'm just wondering if what you said is the same as what he wrote in his whenever it was earlier op-ed. The third question I had asked him, quote, if it is determined, this is what he had written, if it is determined that a joint facility does not meet the needs of the light department, then there is an opportunity for a project scope modification during the next grant phase. So is what was written there conflicting with what you just stated a minute ago? That's what I'm seeking clarification on. If you can, do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, it doesn't conflict with it. It's just that's what the select board had said was that they had directed the town manager not to include the light plant. So it would be in the next phase, they wouldn't include so it would be what he had said.
But what I'm saying is what you just read a few minutes ago, I think, and I just want to be sure that I heard you correctly, that the light plant manager Did it say that you are not allowed to withdraw from the facility?
I asked directly
From the grant,
if there would be any amendments or a modification to the grant application, the Phase 4 application. And she said there will be no modification. The grant is submitted as is.
Okay.
What I do recall at that joint meeting with the Select Board, that Select Board member Erwin Nessoff asked a direct question to the town manager, light plant manager, if the grant could go forward if the light plant was removed from the grant. And I believe Jennifer said yes, that it could go forward.
Okay.
Could I ask the date of that, Holly?
The,
So,
Of when, what Chris said, because Chris is saying it can be withdrawn from the grant.
no, he's not saying it can be withdrawn. He said if it is determined that a joint facility does not meet the needs of the light department, then there is an opportunity for a project scope modification.
Right, so
during the next-
that's what that means.
Well, no, it doesn't mean the light panel can withdraw. That's not the way I interpret it.
modification.
But it's June 23rd.
June 23rd.
It was in the Hall Times,
Right.
his article. So I was just trying to understand, like, okay, if you can't withdraw, will you have an opportunity to, how do you say, make modifications to meet the needs?
yeah, a modification and amendment to the grant.
And isn't there another attorney who works with you guys about?
Right.
Has he been consulted? Have they, the two attorneys, brainstormed together about this with you guys involved? Because that to me is very pertinent. I mean, after hearing
Again, it's
him,
not within our scope.
our Attorney Winter not say that there could be a vote taken when something was on the agenda. Anyway, I think it would be helpful to have the two attorneys confer with you guys involved.
I think conferring with the Select Board, if the Select Board wants the light board removed from the grant,
I agree.
I would defer to what Lisa French said, that this is a town employee taking direction from an elected board. I don't know. I think it's...
I totally agree with you. I just
Yeah, I
wondering
think it's
why
almost
not.
contemptible, like, I'm not going to do it, I don't agree with that.
So, anyway, I don't know how else to.
Okay,
Thank you.
not beating this. So, generator rates, project charge, I think we've covered that. It says the final,
The cover this year is what has been explained to us, right?
yeah, okay, what was forwarded to me is the final generator charge will be assessed in September. A detailed memo will be issued to all customers in the next billing cycle. Okay, Article 40 status. Report of the clerk on transmittal of the board's testimony to the general court and on the status of the home rule petition following the July 31st, 2026 formal session deadline. Discussion of next steps, including any request for a public hearing and the procedural posture of the position in formal setting. Let me just read what was submitted here by the town manager. Please be advised that Representative Machino and Senator O'Connor have filed the Article 40 petition. The docket number is HD 6294, and it says you can track the bill here. So it looks like this was pulled from another document, and it doesn't include the link. But I believe most of these documents can be filed, can be followed.
You just get the number.
I checked it tonight. The petition is filed and docketed as House Docket 6294 jointly, as you said, Tom, an act relative to the governance of the Hull Municipal Light Plant in the town of Hull. And the presenters are Representative Joan Moschino and Senator Patrick O'Connor. The legislature's record shows Hull local approval received, which confirms the home rule petition carries the required local approval on file with the House clerk. The bill has 4 sections. I put it up on the screen. I don't know if this is showing them. Can you folks
Yes,
see
yeah,
that?
we can see it.
it, but it's very small from
Yeah. I mean, if you read it, that's probably,
Okay, so I'll read it then. An act relative to the governance of the Hull Municipal Light Plant in the town of Hull, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives and General Court assembled and by the authority of the same as follows. Section 1, subsection C of Section 4, Chapter 8 of the Acts of 1989 as amended, is hereby amended by striking out paragraph 14A as inserted by Chapter 93 of the Acts of 1993. Section 2, upon the effective date of this act, the Municipal Light Board of the Town of Hull shall possess all powers, duties, and responsibilities regarding the operation, management, and control of the municipal light plant as provided in Chapter 164 of the general laws and any other applicable general or special law, including but not limited to authority to make policy, to hire and fire municipal light plant manager, subject to applicable collective bargaining agreements, civil service requirements, and other applicable law. Section 3, nothing in this act shall be construed to impair existing lawful contracts, obligations, or collective bargaining agreements of the municipal light plant. Section 4, this act shall take effect upon its passage. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Could you forward that to us, Jake?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. So procedurally, it remains at the docket stage. No bill number has been assigned, has not been referred to a committee yet, and no hearing is scheduled yet. Formal sessions ended July 31st this year, so advancement from here happens in informal sessions, which does require unanimous consent, where a single member's objection would stop a matter. Home rule petitions commonly move this way and move, have a good track record moving forward in informal sessions. But this one still needs referral, a committee report, and then action in both branches before the 194th General Court ends. I think their end date is early January. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's sometime in January is my understanding. If it's not enacted by then, it would have to be refiled, and that's the latest status. Chair, if you want to hear it, I can share a bit of news on the similar legislation.
Sure.
Ipswich.
please.
Okay. So Ipswich has a very similar bill, and they had a very similar situation, different than ours. They have a municipal lighting plant, so they're not creating a new municipal lighting plant in Ipswich. But what happened in Ipswich was they had a town meeting in May this year, and they voted overwhelmingly to also send a home rule petition to the legislature, and they filed it, and it's 3147 is the name of theirs. It went to the committee. The committee issued a favorable report, but it hasn't moved in either the House or the Senate yet. But I think it's good news to see that it's actually a bit more complicated than ours. It fixes a few other things in their charter. So ours is actually much simpler. So I'm hopeful that the committee will issue a favorable report for Hull as well. But I think it's great to see that something very similar got a favorable report out of the committee. So I wanted to show that.
What town is that?
Ipswich. Lisa French, 47 Rockaway. Could you talk about the time frame? Because I understand that whole process for Ipswich happened really quickly. Is that true?
Yes. I don't have all the specific dates up right in front of me, but the May town meeting, they had something filed in June, and I think it was July 22nd. where it got docketed, and I don't know the exact date, but sometime in the last couple of weeks, the committee issued the favorable report. So they had their hearing, and then the committee issued the favorable report. And so the next step is obviously to get the votes taken in the informal session by both the House and the Senate, and if it passes both, then it has to go to the governor for signature.
So that's further along?
Yeah, it's further along than Halls. Halls right now doesn't even have a bill number yet. It needs to be assigned to committee, and then you have to have their hearing, and then we wait for the committee to report favorable, unfavorable, or they recommend deferring it to study.
Okay. I think Article 40 will be on our agenda until it's passed. Okay. Item. Okay. We had the manager's report. The manager's report, there was interim vehicle storage for the line truck expected in October 26, including rental locations, reconfiguration of the 15 Edgewater Road, and the November 20th, 2025 garage vote by the board. Electric vehicle charging status deferred from the July 16th meeting. System load and distribution capacity, including the summer 2026 peak of approximately 16.6 megawatts. So,
I want to, Tom, could we talk for just a moment about that?
sure, yeah. I asked Mike if he could address that, and I guess he didn't.
16.6, is that what you said?
Yeah, 16.6 megawatts.
Yep. So when we met on Monday this week with Mike and Jen, and we talked about that specific item, he nodded and said, yeah, absolutely, we can discuss that on Thursday. And I felt really good about that. I think it's important that it gets discussed. It's something that needs to not only be managed, but informing our decision-making in terms of developing long-term solutions and the battery as a medium-term solution, so on and so forth. So I think that it, again, apologize for the misstatement, the insubordination was the wrong term, but it's not fair to the ratepayers walk out of a meeting. These things matter, this is important, and progress needs to be made. The board should be involved. And I think that's what is important to note here, is that this wasn't discussed with the right people in the room because of what happened earlier. So that's all I wanted to say on that.
Yeah, and this is an operational issue. So our previous peak was 15.4. We've gone up 6-7%. And the consequences of that is that our the power that we purchase from National Grid will cost more.
Yeah.
Do we know what the maximum capability of the system is? For those of us who are not operations manager type people?
Wasn't it 17?
17 and a half, isn't it?
So, the engineering name, so I was on the capacity planning task force last year with former Commissioner Pat Cannon. And the engineering drawings and whatnot that we were provided show 17.5 megawatts is the engineering or nameplate capacity with both lines operational. One line actually is rated higher and one line is rated lower, so it's not 17 and a half divided by 2 evenly. But that's the number, that's the nameplate number. We've been told that if certain things are done and you have fans running, you may be able to exceed that for shorter stretches of time, but I didn't see any engineering paperwork that showed that, or no study. That may just be an operational, fact.
Right, that if you,
I mean, 17.5 is the number that I saw in an engineering document.
and there's, Mike had said before that these are large transformers. There's a whole cooling system associated with them. And if the cooling system is activated, they can produce more than the rated capacity. He said it was in the 20 to 21 megawatt capacity potential. If the fans and the cooling system operate, but they can't operate for more than 8 hours at a time. So you can peak a little bit. An important consideration is the Paragon development that's going up right now. I believe that they were rated at a peak of 1.4 megawatts themselves, 1.4, maybe 1.7. And that's if all the ACs are turned on, if the ovens are turned on, if all the lights are turned on. A situation that'll probably never happen. More of an operational level would be just under 1 megawatt. So we should expect to see this 16.6 probably jump to 17, maybe 17 and a half.
You're sort of reading my mind, because when I hear that about 17.5 is our maximum and we're already at 16.6, I'm thinking, what are we doing? Bringing all these mega developments in that are going to add tremendous, my word, overload to a system that's right at the brink, it sounds like.
Until
That's because part of the reason is because the light plant had,
right, we need a new feeder line. We
Yeah.
need a third feeder line to come in.
well,
Leslie Taylor, 1164 Nantasket. It's very personal. I have a battery backup for my house, which if you guys would have variable pricing, I could reduce my demand significantly. But I'm wondering how much trouble is it for you to go to variable pricing? And wouldn't that shave your peak a bit? I don't know what's involved in switching over to
So-
time-adjusted pricing of kilowatts, but
There are programs that MWIC has where we could, if people wanted to participate and they have high electric usage, either through water heaters or through heat pumps or air conditioning, that they could be notified that we are reaching a new peak. And if they participated, we could regulate the water heater and possibly intermittently turn on the AC. Heat pumps don't work that way. Heat pumps, once heat pump is turned on, it should be left on for a while. They're not made to fluctuate up and down as much as a normal air conditioner. That's what I've been told. But
So, I'm sorry, is there a-
in
is there-
general, time-adjusted pricing cuts demand, doesn't it? Isn't that the whole point of time-adjusted pricing, is to balance demand? And wouldn't this benefit the whole town, I guess? It's
yeah,
not-
no, that's a really good idea, Leslie.
yeah.
But I don't know what's between Hull and time-adjusted pricing. I was turned down. Tesla tried to get me in that system of offering up my kilowatts, and I was told I wasn't eligible. I don't know why. But let's forget about my house. I think if anybody in town, even if you had a very simple system, you don't have to have a fancy system, if you knew that electricity prices were going to jump up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you might go not to put off doing your dishwasher until
Right.
10. So what's the whole,
Yeah,
I
but
guess that's my question.
I mean, part of the problem with the peak is that that's when everybody comes home, right?
Where I lived before, we had off-peak pricing. We had, we had storage heaters. We
Yeah.
heated bricks during the off-peak hours and then gave them off during the daytime. So
It's all over
you heated,
all over the world.
you heated off, you heated during off-peak. And that way you gave the grid more flexibility.
The variable pricing is implemented all over the place. It's not exotic.
I was surprised that it wasn't done here.
Yeah, it's wild that we're behind. We're way behind in that. But I thought
Is it
we put
because
smart
we're
meters everywhere.
municipal?
Wasn't that the
Why
point
don't we
of
do
the
it?
smart meters?
No.
I think we had the capability. I'm going to put this in our parking lot, that we will continue to look at that. I think that's a very good idea.
Because people can do it on their own. They can make those decisions. If you send out the time schedule of your pricing, people don't need a fancy piece of equipment to do that analysis. That's straightforward.
Yeah, that's certainly a way to take us through these high peak.
And you can engage as the public in your issues too. I think it raises consciousness about the problem. If you say, this is going to help the whole town if you will all look at these times.
Yeah. So this demand happened on July 4th weekend, and I believe it was on the third day that the temperature was in the 90s. And so there was a lot of people coming into town that time, and the usage was high. And there's, I believe, a psychology that the first day, okay, I can keep it, I can deal with a little more heat, I can deal with a little more heat. Day 3, people say, screw it, I'm going to turn down the air conditioner. I'm tired of being hot. So I think there's a whole psychology that this happened on day 3, and that's when these peaks usually happen. They don't happen on the first day of a heat wave. They happen further on down the heat wave. And also, the houses are warmer. It's harder to cool them down as time goes on because they retain more heat. So everything gets warmer. So the AC might work the first day, but the third day, there's quite a bit more demand.
Well, but this discussion is really, doesn't mean anything without the operations manager here, right? So.
Yeah, it does. You're right.
Yeah, I mean.
Just tell them, let's move forward on variable pricing.
That's correct. I mean, we're going to be talking about that. It's going to be part of the ongoing things with them. It just seems like,
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't mean that we're going to come to any conclusions if he's not here.
Okay. That took.
So are you going to put that on the September meeting? Okay.
In the parking lot.
Right.
Okay.
And I might even jump out of the parking lot too.
I had one more comment. Valancourt suggested that maybe you should send the select board vote of July 22nd to CCM. And no, but you guys got on to something else. I just thought that.
Did you make that suggestion?
I did. I had suggested under item 7, any further action or transmittal by the clerk consistent with the board's April 2026 resolution and its vote of July 22, 2026. So in that, remember we had that joint meeting, we reaffirmed our original April 2026 vote on the resolution. And the reason I asked how to put this on the agenda was specifically so that we would at least have the option to instruct me to send the same list of state agencies we already informed that, oh, by the way, the select board voted for da-da-da-da-da, and get the exact wording of that, and just send it to them as information, so that they are aware that not only the light board, but the select board in the same town now holds the same position. I thought that might be important.
I think that would be, I move that we instruct the clerk to do so.
I second.
Who seconded?
Burns.
Thank you. Just make sure we get accurate minutes.
Can you read the motion again?
Yeah, read the motion again.
The motion is that the clerk transmits to the CZM Coastal Readiness the board's
Et al.
Select board.
vote, the select board's vote of July 22nd, 2026, along with the light board's April 2026 resolution.
Yeah, I'd suggest a friendly amendment that it be the same list of state agencies in the April resolution, get the update from us that we reaffirmed our vote on the July 22nd date,
Yep.
and the select board voted, and put it verbatim, the vote.
I consider that a friendly amendment, so.
So, all those in favor?
Aye, Chicarello.
Aye, Burns.
I go,
I Valencourt.
Aye, Landry.
It's unanimous.
Okay, I apologize. Mark, can you just say your vote one more time? 'Cause
I come.
here. Thank you. Got it.
Okay. Okay, we are going to stop at 10:30.
What I would suggest then is that we go to the approval of the minutes,
So we got to talk,
What?
and we go to the approval of the minutes.
Very beginning of the meeting.
almost there, okay? We will do that.
Okay.
Okay, the board administration issues, remote participation from board members, including provisions of access links, regular, whatever, town accounts, all commissioners and publications of boards, information, town websites, whatever. Board administration, the town manager said that IT staff has been contacted and asked to prioritize providing technical assistance to board members unable to access town emails. Management reminds board members that they should be utilizing their town email for purposes of public record. Okay.
Do you have one?
I've never,
You can't find it on the website.
Yeah, I can't find it either.
It doesn't work yet.
Yeah.
We've been going through this forever.
I know. They used, until it had been updated, I was able to get it through Outlook, and I'd see it, and it was fine. I mean, it was a little quirky, but it was okay. But now I have no idea where it is. I have no idea how to get access to it.
have you contacted the IT department at all?
Well, I've discussed it with our representatives to the IT, the life plan manager and the.
Citizen can't
I
find
mean,
it on the website.
Oh, it's on the website, but if
It used to be on the website. I don't think it
it's
is.
still on, I went on earlier, it's still there, but when you click on, you get nothing on any of us.
yeah.
You click on any of our emails, you get nothing.
Well, I'm saying that my access, I was able to get it through Outlook, but I'm not able to get it now. So
Okay, I've never looked at it.
Okay. We have a parking lot list of about 10 items, 15 items that I'm not going to read, that people can read them on the agenda. I'm going to move to approval of minutes.
I move that we approve the regular meeting of July 16th, 2026, the joint meeting, minutes of the joint meeting of the Select Board of July 22, 2026, approval of the open session minutes of the special meeting of July 27th, 2026. And I would,
Vince, the motion.
what's that?
I'm seconding your motion.
Oh, okay.
Or are you done making the motion?
Yes, for the moment.
Okay. Okay, any objections, any comments on the minutes? Hearing none, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of July 16th, July 22nd, and July 27th, 2026, with no modifications, no changes. Aye, Burns?
I come.
Hi, Landry.
Aye, Chicarello.
I Valencourt.
Then I think that there's an issue about the approval of executive session minutes.
Have we ever had to do that, though? I've never seen that before, that we
Yeah, I've
approve
never
the
even.
executive session minutes. I don't understand that one. Because we can't make them public because they're executive session.
Yeah, until the matter is resolved or something, right?
Absolutely. but
Isn't that,
it
yeah.
needs- Yeah,
Until that time.
right.
So I would,
Hold those?
what's that?
Put a hold on them, or?
Yeah, I would just say we table it until the issue is resolved. And it should be, that particular one should be resolved, if I'm not mistaken, in September, right?
Well, we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I hope I wasn't giving anything away, but
So we'll put a hold on the executive session minutes.
yeah,
I
that's,
think our position right now is that we can determine that they are still protected in executive session.
Right.
So we're complying with.
I move that, okay, I move that we continue to address them as executive session or protect them as executive session minutes until such time as we vote to release them.
Second.
Aye, Chicarello.
Aye, Burns.
I go,
Hi, Landry.
The Valencourt.
I would also, before we adjourn, I would like to ask you, Mr. Chair and Clerk, to go through, or to send us a list of the agenda parking lot items so that we could, the other members, including yourselves,
Right.
list these items on those that aren't continuous items so that we could list them 1 through 5 or whatever, from importance that we want to discuss.
Okay.
So that these things don't hang out forever on these things.
Okay.
So maybe we could discuss 1 or 2 of them every meeting.
Right.
Fair enough?
clean it up.
Okay.
So that I move that we, did you want to say something?
No, I'm finished.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Oh, I just want to ask a question.
That's what I was asking you.
Oh, all right.
Now, we're adjourned already.
Okay, out of session. Leaving Irwin Town Way. When are you going to have the press release on what you bought into tonight? I told you, I'm not a fan of offshore.
We cannot confirm or deny.
Submarine cables, you got maintenance out there. I know the new ones are 5 megawatts above. They have helipads on them. But that just makes the cost of electricity more. I hope you weren't hoodwinked for this.
No, I think in the next 2 to 3 months that AMIC will be ready to make a press release.
Okay. Second question. Why aren't you raising the roof on the existing garage down back? I know it's been looked at. It's an easy fix. It's a block building. You need a couple of steel beams. It's 2-inch tongue and groove wood with a rolled roof on top. The only thing that's going to be the biggest expense is the overhead door. I mean, it just seems like it's such a simple thing rather than rent space
Right.
off-site. I know, you can't answer.
Right.
The operations manager's not.
If the light plan manager was here, I think that's a cost saving.
It is. You budget, it's 2 bays. You block up between the 2 bays, you run your steel beams, put your planking back on, roll the roof, get a new garage door. It seems too simple. And that seems cost saving for the rate. No, yes.
Dave,
You can.
Well, I mean, that's
I agree with you, Dave, okay?
that's a matter should be brought up when the
Yeah, it needs a parking
operation
lot.
manager's here. Bring it up then.
Yeah, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa French, 47 Rockaway. I'm sorry to bring this up. The thing is, I would ask the board to maybe consider whether you would like to make a formal request to the select board to instruct town staff to please resolve the issue with the email system. You're not the only board, of course, we know, all the boards and the committees, there are people who have been on committees a long time, they don't have a town email address to use, which they're supposed to be using, and I think if all of the boards together would address this issue together, then you'd have some clout. Because it seems right now that year after year, I'm on another board, like year after year, they ask, and they're just told the same thing. The IT staff are working on it, and nothing ever changes. Could the board maybe, I don't know how to do this, but like, you know, send a word as a board to the select board, please, will you, we want you to know that this is an issue for our board. We want it resolved. We've been waiting patiently for how long? Would you please take steps to, I don't know, direct town staff to work on this issue? I don't know, sorry.
Right. So I'll be talking to Brian McCarthy personally on that, the chair of the select board, and ask him kindly if he could direct the IT staff. I know there's only, I think there's an acting director of the IT staff. Judy Sate retired about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Her position is still in an acting position, so that person hasn't been hired full-time, in my opinion. But if we had a light plant manager here, maybe that could have been answered.
Well, can I say, it's not a question, in my mind, it's not to ask a question of staff. It's just to inform publicly, inform the select board, as a board, publicly inform the select board that members of the light board have been having issues all this time. Will the select board please do what they can to have staff address this issue and let it be that? Let them deal with it.
Or could we just not, as a board, ask to meet, pick a date, pick a time, ask to meet with IT to sit down with all of us and activate our accounts? Why can't we do that ourselves?
Have them come to one of our meetings and just have a little session.
Or say to them, we're available for you next Tuesday from 2 to 4. We'll all come in and sit with you. We'll bring our laptops and you show us, hook us up, get our email active, and
Yes, I
Very
agree.
good suggestion.
Yeah. I'll bring that up.
okay.
Put an end to it. Put an end to it.
Right.
One last thing is our agenda for,
Our next meeting is September 17th.
okay. Okay, September 17th. Let's leave it at that. If, I know you'll be traveling, so, okay. Next meeting, September 17th?
Yeah. So this would be my friendly suggestion. Keep our meetings on the third Thursday of every month. It's a constant, so that we know that's when the light board meets. And if somebody's traveling for business, well, just let them zoom in. You know what I mean?
Right.
That way we know it's consistent. The third Thursday of the month, the light board meets, it's on the agenda, that won't change.
Good.
I share, I won't be in the September 17th meeting. I'll be in France, so substantially different time zone.
Well, you could stay up late and zoom in, Jake.
Yeah.
Your meeting would start at 2:30 in the morning.
Okay.
All right. So I move that we adjourn.
I second.
Third, fourth.
Without exception, without, yes.
But
Great. Unanimous. Dan? Opposed? Seconded by,
yes, I,
Seconded by-
Chicarello.
and it's unanimous.
Hi, Landry.
Thank you. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
See you later.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, Jake, I'm gonna zoom you out, Jake.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay.